Everybody, welcome to an episode of the Hoppy Craftsmen podcast. I am Chris. With me is my co-host, Eddie Gomez.
I'm here.
Today we are at Pedal Haus Brewing in Tempe, Arizona.
Is it Tempe or Tempe?
Tempe.
Or
If you're
Tempe, if you're in Tempe, and it's Tempe apparently everywhere else in the world.
every time I watched, was it MMA? They always pronounced it as Tempe, Arizona.
yeah, or my favorite is always watching stuff and they're like, we're in Phoenix, Arizona, and they show Scottsdale or Sedona and on their little flyby on the camera. But no, we're in Tempe, Arizona. Yeah, we're here with Julian and Derek. How many people know your real first name, would you say? What percentage?
My parents, my sister, my wife, and my brother, for sure. My nieces and nephews might be confused.
And his proctologist.
Right?
Doctor.
I'll answer to whatever, just don't call me late for dinner.
There you go. So we are going to break tradition. We're actually going to do the rapid round first. So we have a segment. It's called the rapid round. It's not rapid. It's a round, though. We basically ask questions and then go from there.
Yeah, what do you got, buddy?
We got the most podcasty question that you can ask is, what was your first memorable craft beer, or the beer that got you into
I
drinking?
got mine, but go ahead, Doc. This is
Sierra
gonna be
Nevada Pale Ale.
Man, that's
damn it.
It's
I coulda
very
guessed that.
popular.
I could have
That's a
guessed
very
that.
popular answer.
I could have guessed that. How about you guys try to guess what my first one was? But I'm going to give you some hints. The first hint is the great state of New Mexico.
Holy
Wait,
crap!
do they make beer in New Mexico?
Now, okay, I'll give you.
I'm just joking.
Hey,
We know some people there. We know some people there.
All
It's
right.
fine. Oh,
Let's
actually,
back up. This is about 2006. So New Mexico is your first hint. So far, crickets. All right.
man,
Second
2006,
hint.
Not that old. I don't know.
Second hint coming. The name of the brewery is also a hard stone.
Marble.
This is it. Marble.
Marble Brewing.
Marble Brewing.
Yeah.
Very good. And you can probably guess the style.
They don't make anything besides IPAs, do they?
They actually have quite a few different beers,
think I
but it
have.
was the Marble IPA at the restaurant I owned in Albuquerque, New Mexico back in 2006, where I tasted this local micro hoppy beer. And I don't know if it's just me and I didn't have a lot of exposure to hoppy beers, but it smelled like dank weed to me. And I'm just like, damn, since when does beer smell like not shitty weed, like some good dank weed?
Right.
And I'm like, wow. And I loved it and put it on tap. You know, things have evolved since then, but that was the first beer that kind of struck me as something's kind of cool about this beer.
That might be the first time we've had Marble mentioned
Yeah.
as a starter, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it's
But-
Sierra Nevada is like super
Yes.
popular. That was mine as well.
I would
Sierra
say
Nevada, yeah.
I would say for
Crushed it.
brewers, yeah, Sierra Nevada is very high on the list for brewers. Other people, it's like
It's all over the place.
here you get a lot of like Kilt Lifter and things like that. But yeah,
By
I
the
would
way,
say-
a little shout out to Ted Rice, the owner of Marble Brewery in Albuquerque. You know what the second beer from him that kind of blew me away was? It actually led to kind of the style I wanted to lead with here at Pedal Haus was their double white Belgian wit. And it was a Belgian wit. I think I had a little extra hops in it. And I was like, God damn it, this is what I want to try to reproduce at Pedal Haus. This was long before I met Doc, if I remember correctly. But I felt like at the time everything's getting a little saturated on the IPA front, and you know, having had some really memorable trips in Europe and really liking German lagers and Belgian ales, I was like, all right, this could kind of be our lane. And that beer that he made, that double white Belgian wit, that hoppy kind of wit beer, was like something that inspired me a little bit to figure out what our beer program is going to be. In fact, our very first beer we ever brewed was the Beer Blanche wit beer.
I've heard good
Right.
things about that. Pretty
Yeah.
good, right?
yeah,
Well, interestingly enough, not only was it our first beer, but it was probably the one beer we've made that's, and granted, Doc continues to evolve these things over time, but that thing had a solid 3-year run before it ever won an award, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. Does that sound about right to you? Like, I don't think it's really won many awards until the first award I remember it winning was that Scottsdale Beer Fest. What was that one? The Brewers Bowl.
Was that
And
the
it won
first?
Best in Show, which is kind of random, right?
Right.
Like an event of all the beer styles that were at Brewers Bowl 2 years ago ish. They picked our Belgian Wit as Best in Show, which we were like, whoa, that was freaking crazy. I remember that night. We still have the freaking keg looking Stanley Cup thing over here. Oddly enough, they disbanded the event. We were the last winner, so we still have the Stanley Cup
You don't have to pass it on
for eternity.
until they get their shit together.
At any rate, the very next award it won was GABF gold medal last year. So this freaking beer went years and years and years without winning shit.
Yeah.
It wins Best in Show and then GABF gold, and then today won another gold. It's kind of crazy evolution of this beer that was our first beer we ever brewed in this facility.
You think it's because of like you said, like IPAs are like just super popular? I mean, even now like hazy IPAs.
I don't think so, because I don't think like one category cooling off or heating up affects the winner of another category necessarily.
Okay.
Whether it's not like it's a Best in Show, sure.
Okay, yeah.
But not the typical format, right? Which
Right.
is,
This is
very
the style.
narrow field. This is the style, and are you the best in this particular style? Who knows? I don't know. I think Doc has just been evolving that recipe and dialing it in, but something's going on.
Yeah.
If you're not evolving, you're going extinct. That's something I learned from my former employer. Is you've got to be thinking about what you can do, what the guest wants, and
Yeah.
if you're just dying out there, or you're evolving.
Staying with the status quo is never. I mean, you can't really grow from there, right? You're staying, the same level all the time. You can't get better. So.
And on that note, our next question, it kind of leads into that. What is there a beer you would decline under any circumstance?
A shitty one.
I did for a long time the hazy IPA because I spent 20 years trying to figure out how to not make it hazy.
Which is funny. There's people that's kind of the mindset of people that you don't. That's a Hefeweizen. You put that beer up, that's a Hefeweizen. That's not IPA. So to be able to
Ooh, look,
see it come around.
this is a good interruption.
Oh, hey.
Sorry, did you want to get another beer?
Yes, please.
Yeah, and these guys are falling behind.
Yes, please.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah. So I guess we should say we were drinking.
are you
We're all
drinking, by the way?
The
They
Hoppy
don't like
Lager.
our beer.
The Lager of the Happiness?
Yes, it's really good.
A Pilsner.
Pilsner, Hoppy, and White Rabbit, please.
Yeah, that works.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, we're really bad at that. What were you drinking now that you're finished?
The exact thing that everybody else is
Yeah,
drinking.
we're really good at creating
Hoppy?
diversity and
Hoppy
conversation, and we all get the same beer, so we
Yeah.
kind of throw
love
that
that
out.
Hoppy
You guys need to mix it up.
Well, I was gonna say, so the other night when we came for the beer dinner, so thank you for that.
Oh,
as well.
yeah.
We're
Thought I
hanging out,
recognize that beer.
having a drink beforehand, and this is what I ordered before, and I was like, this is really good. So the other one we have is what's your moped beer?
My moped beer?
Yeah.
So if I'm drinking
What's your
7,
guilty-
8 beers and I got to get home in a moped?
No, what's your guilty pleasure? Like, what beer do you like to drink that you don't want your friends seeing you drink?
I think he's
Oh.
referring to fat chicks in a moped.
That's what I'm. There you
Fat
go.
chicks on a... That's a thing?
Yeah.
Fat chicks in a moped?
Yeah.
They're fun to ride, but you don't want your friends to see you on
Oh, god damn, I'm slow.
Yeah, there you go.
Fucking hell.
Thanks, Doc.
I do have a moped story. I'll tell you about that later. About my college roommate, this fucking guy. I don't give a fuck. Seriously, I mean, I drink a lot of lagers. Like, that's my style beer, but I'm not ashamed of it. I mean, I like German beers and I like lagers, and I guess, I don't know. Probably like I get lazy sometimes, like everybody, and I'll drink Corona and Coors Light and all those beers that taste super good at like negative 30 degrees. But I will say this is the true story, and I'll drink any beer that's just doesn't reek of off flavors and malpractice. But Doc has freaking ruined me for beer, in the sense that I'll go to other breweries locally, abroad, big house, small house, doesn't matter, and I'm always comparing it to what this guy makes, and it's my palate has evolved, and it's hard for me. Like we went to Seattle. We tasted some of the best beers in Seattle, and we had great beer.
Right.
But I couldn't wait to come home to the comfort of our beer and what I knew and liked, and just the quality. So that being said, I guess anything that's okay. White Claw, goddamn it, White Claw! You got it out of me, you son of a bitch.
Dying to say White Claw.
You son of a bitch. I'm still thinking like fat chicks are still riding scooters. Haven't they heard about birds?
Exclusive.
By the way, large
reason.
ladies, we love you.
I don't ride.
We ain't exactly got 6-packs at this table, fellas.
No.
All right.
There's a weight limit for birds.
yeah, you're right.
Me and fat
Well,
chicks
so
don't
none of
ride
us are
them.
riding birds. Is that what you're saying?
So, Doc, do you have one, or do you always evaluate beer and you
I-
know what to avoid, or have you been ruined for beer? I guess that's the question.
I really feel like if I say that beer that I'd piss off some people.
So the standard answer is White Claw. Sorry, White Claw, you're delicious too.
But yours is probably on a different level
I-
versus like what we would say is like Bud Light or MGD or Bud Ice or something stupid like that.
I'm okay with all those. You should drink the beer that's in front of you that you like. And believe me, if Budweiser wasn't happy with the way their beer tasted, they would change it. They're better than anybody at making quality beer. So I can't rip on them at all. I did find myself, thank you. I did find myself holding a Bud Light at the Rolling Stones concert last week for my wife while she went to the restroom.
You went to the Rolling Stones concert last week?
I did, and I was really worried that someone knew me and was going to take a picture of me.
Put it out. You're like,
Bud
"Look."
Light. I was like, no, I'm the designated driver. I'm just holding it
The
for my wife."
storyline there is Melissa was holding a drink in a Bud Light. You just let the cat out of the bag.
She likes Budweiser.
Oh,
That's her employer.
You said that she's a handyman, right?
That's also who pays for my health care.
Even better.
So I am not going to pay.
hey guys, can we have a little toast to Budweiser?
So drink some more Budweiser.
Here's to Budweiser. Keep me alive.
Budweiser und Budweiser. Hey, listen, they make consistent beer.
Yeah, they
That's-
do.
Here's the funny thing about that. You know the whole little freaking corn syrup battle between
Oh,
Coors
yeah.
Light and Bud Light. I walked into a CVS about a month ago, and I guess it was Bud Light had this stack of cases up, and they're like, "We don't have corn syrup, and we're so proud that we're going to tell you what ingredients we do have." And it's like water, yeast, hops, barley, and rice. And I'm like, it's like the needle scratched across the record. I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
I get it. Maybe rice isn't as bad as corn syrup, but why are you leaning into that advertising?
Yeah.
Like, I just didn't quite connect. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's that whole throwing rocks at glass houses thing.
Yeah,
It's like,
It's like water, yeast, hops, barley. Get it? Rice.
yeah,
It's Schweinheitsgebot. It's the
It's more like swine
ingredients-
Christabelt.
it's the ingredients you can feed to a pig.
no,
I'm
I
sure.
like
Like
that.
I'm sure pigs like corn too.
Oh,
but
wait.
still.
They eat everything.
Yeah, they'll eat anything, right?
It's right here.
My favorite question is, what's one thing that you've gotten from a maybe best or worst that you've gotten from a customer? Like, you should do this,
Here at Pedal House.
or any business.
Put clothes
you've had.
on. I mean, that was a weird one.
One of our favorites
Trim
was
Doc's beard.
Yeah. But do you get that a lot? Like, oh, you guys should do this, or you should brew this, or you should serve this. Like,
Doc, I mean,
I've never had to throat punch anyone.
That's
I usually lead with the joke of glitter beer or something, and no one ever challenges me. So.
honestly, I not off the top of my head, I've had a lot of customers say I've had a couple of things on Yelp or something like that where this one person, can't remember the gender, might have been gender neutral, but they said something to the effect of the beer, or I think they had a water. You know, Tempe water tastes like shit. And we take steps to correct that, but they assumed because our drinking water tastes like shit, and they're kind of reasonably understandable, but that all our beer was made with the same unfiltered water.
yeah, you just take.
They're
buckets
going
from
on
Tempe
and on and
down
on and
Lake.
on. Oh God, they're to the point where they're drinking our beer. I'm like, oh, this tastes like shit. This tastes like shit. I think they were just carrying forward the assumption that because our drinking water tastes like shit, which it probably did at the time because we had to up our filtration.
It was an algae bloom.
It was an algae bloom. Yeah, we're going to go with that. Algae bloom. That all that. So he or she, I honestly can't remember, made the assumption that, I made the statement, the proclamation that our beer was garbage. I had to really bite my tongue on that.
That's tough.
Because I'm like, our beer is fucking good.
He bit his tongue and he didn't tell me. He did tell me to put filters on our drinking water, though.
That's what I love about Doc, is not only is he a jovial fellow, he makes incredible beer, but if something needs fixing around here, this guy's like just pulling out blow torches, tools, filters. He's got a preferred customer card at something freight.
Harbor Freight.
Harbor Freight. This guy.
I own the entire catalog.
Guy walks in there like, "Hey, Doc." He's like Norm down at Harbor Freight. That's freaking awesome.
Is it because you go there so often, or is it because Harbor Freight it just sells disposable tools?
It's between my house and here, and I don't know if you guys have ever worked in any restaurant. Tools don't ever get returned, so don't buy the expensive ones. Just keep buying them.
Keep buying them. Yeah.
Yeah,
Embrace the free ones too.
I used to work construction, and the first thing construction workers do is like etch their name into every single tool, and they still walk away. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know the new construction workers because they have Craftsmen, and everybody else has Harbor Freight.
It'd
or
be funny to open
Cobalt
a
and-
museum of all the stolen tape measures. It's like all these guys' names on tape measures. I'm going to do a coffee book of stolen tape measures.
There you go. Covered it.
I've been on a lot of construction sites, and the number one most protected asset is the tape measure.
This is so easy to lose. You just take it off and sit it down for a second and walk away. And
Boom! It's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So our last rapid round question is: what do you know now that you wish you knew the day you opened? This is why it's a rapid round, because this isn't a rapid question
It's
and answer.
very, very ironic. That's what the kind of
Oh
name is.
yeah. No,
It's
Jesus.
not-
I'm just wondering how much time you have. I mean, restaurant business is hard. Wholesale brewing is hard. Doing both can be brain damage. Takes a lot of patience. But I will say this, and I don't know if I've ever said it directly or in front of Doc, but knowing what I know now about the brewing industry, I couldn't imagine doing it without a guy this solid. You know, it's complex, and there's probably been times when the quality of our beer has carried us through some rough patches and allowed us to kind of evolve on the customer experience side. But at the end of the day, and now I'd say more than ever, it's even if you're a sophisticated brand, meaning you got your shit together, the sudsy alcohol industry is changing at warp speed.
Yeah.
You know the freaking hard seltzer thing came out of nowhere, and now like it's so, and you can see like the bigger breweries just getting squirrely. When I talk to sales reps for distributors, they're like, used to be that one brewery would have 4 SKUs that they're known for. In some cases, one, like Manny's from Georgetown and Seattle. I mean, that Manny's was everywhere, right? And even Four Peaks, it was.
I think somebody wants Doc's autograph.
The Hoppy Craftsmen.
The Hoppy Craftsmen.
The Hoppy Craftsmen are in the house. HAUS.
There you
Now,
go.
like even like Four Peaks or other breweries, it's like now they've got like freaking 40 different SKUs, and the salesmen are just like, holy shit! I get 2,000 breweries. They got 40 SKUs each. It's like kind of getting to be overkill. And for us little guys, in a sense, I always liken us to the tortoise and the hare. We're kind of slow, but we're just constantly moving forward. And I just feel like there's this like tornado of change and evolution going on around us, to where it's just getting overwhelming trying to figure out what moves to make.
Right.
So you didn't drop everything and go hard cider the day all that stuff
I'll be
dropped,
honest
right?
with you, we thought about it, bro. I mean, I tell you what, when we were up in Seattle, what was that, a month ago? which was a super fun trip, by the way. I'll show you guys some pictures afterwards.
Pictures of me sleeping on the couch. You know, there's just
Among other things.
dispensaries that are just on every corner there.
Oh yeah.
I don't smoke, but I was in Seattle, and dispensaries on every corner. So I slept well.
Walk around, contact buzz.
The damn hard seltzer thing, man.
It's crazy.
Like my sister was the first person I knew, like in my orbit, that was drinking the White Claws down out at the pool. And I took a sip. I'm like, man, it tastes like soda water with like some perfume or some syrup in it. And again, I'm not trying to knock White Claw, but I was just like, wow, I don't get it. Then we went to, so I actually called one of our investors. I'm like, I got an idea. Like, let's do a seltzer that's like kind of clean and tasty. So we go to Seattle and we meet with Two Beers Brewing. I'm not familiar with them. We're kind of a smaller operation, but they came up with a seltzer called what was it? Remember Soundcraft Seltzer.
All right.
Soundcraft Seltzer. And Soundcraft is like, an 8 font, and Seltzer is like a 22 font. But, like, kudos to them, kind of throwbacky, hipstery, and freaking good juice, dude. Oh, my God. We had a grapefruit and a rosé that were just bomb. And I was kind of like, all right, get it, fad. All right, cool. Well, probably not worth getting into this thing because there's just too many out there. And now I'm opening this bar down the street. I'm meeting with all the vendors, and they're just like, their hard seltzer category has gone from like, here's our 1 to here's our 22, including some locals. I'm just like, damn, that wave came in fucking hard and fast. Like, if you were on your board, if you weren't facing the right direction, you ended up a mile in from the beach. I mean, it crashed and it came at us so fast, and that's kind of indicative of where things are going now. I think you can extract and go up 30,000 feet. What I feel like, and you guys tell me, you're in this industry too, I feel like people are drinking a little bit lighter, doesn't mean you can't have hop character, doesn't mean you can't have flavor, but I do feel like people are drinking lighter. And I went out somewhere the other day, I can't remember where I was, I think I'd had like a big meal, and I was like, you know what, damn, I hate to say it, kind of looking over my shoulder, but like, can I get a fucking seltzer? I'm pretty sure I got a seltzer, and I'm pretty sure I loved it.
Does that make you turn in your chair, Doc?
A little bit. I drink LaCroix. I'm a Pamplemousse guy, but that's like
Pamplemousse? Hold on. How the hell then do you turn it in your chair if you're drinking Pamplemousse and LaCroix?
It's 4:30 in the morning when I get up. I drink the grapefruit LaCroix, and I think if I'm going to drink it at night, it's going to have gin in it. But it's not going to be fermented sucrose.
I do
all right, fair enough.
Pellegrino and gin.
Pellegrino's great, yeah. At night, if I wasn't drinking beer, I would drink that.
Isn't it weird that we all went from this sort of culture of like stouts and heavy and
14%
double IPAs and blah, 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 and then overnight something changed, and all of a sudden we're like, oop, I'll take a gin and tonic, please. Can I get a seltzer and a gin?
Can I get some ginger to settle my stomach?
It is happening to all of us.
Is it the age, fellas? Is that what it is?
Could be.
Yeah, is craft beer just hitting middle age? Is that what
30
it is?
and we're like pushing 50 something. This guy's
I'm glad I think I'm 30. I might as well take that.
Baby.
Yeah, man.
Well, you're 50 in October, right? Or you have one more to go?
49.
49 in
49
October?
this year, yeah.
Yeah, damn. I just turned 50, so.
I'm going to do 49 for like another 8 years. Let my wife catch up.
That's a good plan. I like
So we
that.
can be the same age.
Got an older wife.
All right, that was anything but rapid, but okay.
Yeah,
we got through it.
That's how we like to do it.
What I was
was
going to say
fun.
is you talking about how people like the lighter drinking. One of the questions we used to ask was, what do you think the next trend in craft beer is? And lager was actually kind of
That was popular
it was
for a
super
while.
popular for a while. Everybody's talking about how lager's going to come back. And in Arizona, it's tough because the cooling and the heating here, it's a little different.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like lagers are back, which is weird, but I also think it's almost like the fucking tech industry where it's like Uber, Lyft, what's next? Like it's like coming at us like
Constantly.
supersonic speed, and it gets a little squirrely trying to keep up with it. And I that's why I kind of describe Pedal Haus as the tortoise,
Right.
no pun intended. we're just has nothing to do with our physiques. We're just kind of, moving forward and like not trying to bob and weave too much with the trends. I mean, we came out with our light lager 2 years ago, and I remember going to Doc, and there's very few beers I've even asked Doc to brew, and I can name them on 3 fingers. One was a nitro maple milk stout way back when.
What did he throw at you when you said that?
Some maple syrup and a bunch of bees.
We brewed it.
We brewed it.
It was actually good.
Killed it. No, it was just kind of like my experiment, but it did all right. It was pretty decent.
We should probably bring it back.
Yeah, we should. And then I think it was the next one light. Yeah, next one was light. And I'm like, hey, bro, we're selling a shitload of Coors Light, and, love Coors Light. But here's the thing about light beers, which is crazy, right? Like a Bud Light drinker will rarely drink a Coors Light.
Right.
Coors Light drinker will rarely drink a Miller Light.
Drink a High Life.
Yeah. Well, like, it's almost like an IPA drinker not drinking a Belgian wit.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, they're all
the
light,
same.
slight variations of light beer, and yet they won't cross the
Streams.
line, right? So I'm thinking like, all right, well, if we brew a light beer, there's no way these Coors Light, Miller Light, Bud Light drinkers are going to convert. But I'm like, all right, we're a freaking brewery. Let's at least try. And I approached Doc. I'm like, and I remember the day, literally, I looked at him like, I'm thinking to myself, this is so taboo. This guy's going to think I'm a freaking jackass. I'm like, and I've owned bars for 17 years at this point. I said, hey, Doc, what do you think about brewing a light beer? We're selling a decent amount of Coors Light, great beer and all, but what do you think? He didn't even blink. He looks at me. He goes, yeah, I got a recipe. Let's do this. And we kept Coors Light on for a while because I was really nervous about cutting the umbilical cord. And we put our light on, and slowly but surely the conversion was just outstanding. And eventually we just stopped carrying Coors Light. And for people that came in, and we're in Tempe, right? There's, a big college presence. There's a ton of tourism. There's events, blah, blah, blah. Pretty eclectic crowd. And I think at the time it was probably like a number 7 on our product mix. And slowly but surely that beer started moving up the chain. And I think I remember being in California on vacation when you called me and you're like, dude, light beer just won a medal.
You were in San Diego.
Yeah, I was in San Diego.
Similar call to what I did this morning.
Yeah,
I was like, are you sitting down?
He said, you sit down. I was like, what's up? He's like, do you remember the first one we won?
It was the Los Angeles International.
Yeah, it was Los Angeles. I was literally like in California. He's like, our light beer just won a medal. I'm like, are you serious? Holy shit.
All right, guys, let's take a break, and we'll come back talking maybe about where you guys started, your past, and where you guys are going, and then go from there.
Sounds good.
All right, we'll be back.
Break time. Well, yeah, now we can talk about their beer since we've talked about White Claw, we've talked about Bud Light and Coors Light. Maybe we talk about your guys' beer. And if we wanted to list all the medals, we could probably be here for a whole another hour. So we're just kind of
ridiculous. I'll be honest with you. I love touting our medal horn because I have nothing to do with it. Like, other than maybe suggestively selling him on the idea, but this guy makes them.
So you guys Pedal Haus opened in 2015, correct?
Yep.
And you did major renovations shortly after, right?
Yeah,
Early
9 months in, man. Let's talk about swing of the bat.
So just to list off where they won medals in between opening and I guess today.
Yeah, and then 4 years.
Yeah. And I got this off your guys' website, so I hope it's correct.
Are we doing the extended version of this
No,
podcast today?
just a quick. So,
I'm kidding. I love the cameraman, dude. Off fucking this guy's laughing over here. It's fucking great.
So Los Angeles International Beer Competition in 2016, 17, 18, and 19. North American Beer Awards 2016, 17, and 18. Arizona Brewers Bowl that you mentioned in 2018, which was apparently the last one. Strong Beer Fest, which they don't do awards there anymore either.
I've seen that
In 2016 and 17.
Yeah, for our Tripel, baby.
The two big ones, GABF was 2017. Light Lager won a silver, and then last year at GABF, the Beer Blanc won a gold. So that's quite of an extensive.
Were you just trying to read off all the awards we've won?
No, I was just the events because there's multiple. Multiple
my
medals.
My bad. Because I'm pulling up my list. Right
No.
now.
He's
Oh,
gonna
shit,
Excel- he's
you
gonna
missed about 18.
He's gonna
No.
Excel document.
No, I just went events and years because there was
Listen,
multiple
And
award
Doc
winners.
and I have
each.
this funny thing about awards because he's really one of the most humble dudes I've ever met as far as like his skill.
Yeah, you really should
you know,
walk
and
around
his
here
quality.
like Mr. T with
No,
all the
but-
medals
And
around.
the thing is, like, I'm at the end of the day, I'm a pretty humble dude too, but I'm so proud of him that I feel like I can like on our awards, you know, what I mean? Because I have nothing to do with it. So
Yeah,
it's
but-
like perfect. It's like good cop, bad cop.
There's one competition we've entered that we've not medaled in.
World Beer
we've
Cup?
entered twice now.
World Beer
World
Cup.
Beer Cup. We've medaled in everything else we've entered.
Well, we just medaled in the South American World Beer
Yeah,
Cup.
we got some good news this morning. We entered in the Copa de Cervezas de América in Chile, and they seem like they have good feedback. We figured, we do a Mexican amber, and it was a little pricey to enter, but we get some feedback on a style of beer. So we entered, I think, 4 beers.
Don't look at me. I had nothing to do with it. No, what did you enter?
I think we entered the Mexican amber lager in the Vienna category. We entered the beer blanche, and we entered the white rabbit, and we entered the
Light lager.
light lager. Figuring there's only a few competitions out there that give you legitimate feedback, and that's what I used, feedback. So we entered that, and the awards were this Saturday. And I looked online, I couldn't find anything about the awards. There was a 2-hour video of them doing the ceremony, and I wasn't going to watch it. So,
In Chile.
Too long
In
to
Chile,
read.
by the way.
Yeah.
This is happening in Chile.
so about 8:30, I checked my emails this morning, and I got a letter from the Copas saying it was in Spanish. I don't remember what it said, but it something to the effect of congratulations and beer blanche oro, which I think is gold. So
Yeah.
I was like, shit, that's cool. I think we got a
It was
gold.
basing that primarily on the Oro Brewery in
another gold.
Mesa.
Yeah.
Those guys are great.
That's cool.
They're gold in my book.
Congratulations.
So then I got another email from him, and it was White Rabbit, hazy IPA category, Oro, and I was like, shit, I better call Julian. I call him. I'm like, are you sitting down? You know that
I was driving. I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty
that
sure.
really expensive competition we entered down in South America, the Copa, and just as I was calling him, the third email comes through, and the light lager gets bronze.
Good Lord.
And I'm telling him, I'm like, shit, we did really well in South America. That's awesome. And it was about, I don't know, an hour later, I called him back because I got another letter. we won the Brewery of the Year for the
Wow.
United
For
States.
all of Los Americas.
I don't know how
North,
it was all in
Central, and
Spanish.
South.
That is awesome.
Oh, I thought it was just Los Estados Unidos. It was they basically the
No, it
points
was
you
all,
earn.
it was, we like from Alaska to Patagonia.
Wow! So I didn't know that. I thought it was just
Dang.
the most points awarded for the American breweries that entered. But
Well,
You may be right.
But American being the Americas.
Okay, yeah. I
South
thought-
America,
Okay.
Central America, North America.
I'm unclear. I understand.
He speaks a
English a little
poquito
bit.
menos español de yo.
I can order a taco.
That's all I need to know.
It's like, yeah, man, can I get one of them pastors?
That is what I ordered. Too.
They're delicious. I don't,
Yeah.
I don't
So when,
fault you.
so when you
know,
do
it's
something
awesome.
like that, you obviously didn't take the beer there yourself. Does that
Next year we're
concern you?
doing it. Yeah, we're gonna fly it in on like a
Yeah, Julian's like, we're getting a plane and we're going down there and we're
single
partying.
engine into South America.
You're not doing this.
I'd like to see what the trends are down there. It's a conference. All the vendors are there and talk about what their trends are. And then superstition dictates that I will not be there for the award ceremony. I got to be on the plane home
Like
or in
somewhere
a bar
else.
somewhere.
But does that concern you? Like, could shipping your beer somewhere to a competition, like how it's being treated, how it gets there, how it arrives?
It does, but you look at the GABF, we already had to submit beers, and that's not going to be for a while.
Yeah, because that's
before
less
we
than a
judge it.
month, right? From when we record this, GABF is October 3rd through 5th.
Yeah, there's definitely an advantage for the Colorado breweries. But honestly, everybody has to submit it a month in advance, so we're all gonna not have fresh beer.
So it's a quality in itself is just getting your beer there and having it drinkable by the time the judges get to it. So that's quality and
For us,
shelf life and
and you only get 4 or 5 entries in GABF or World Beer Cup, and so you don't enter all your beers. Which the old days you entered them all, and it's like shit, I got an award for that one. That fucking stink bomb never sold. Now we have brew another batch, and you take whatever medal you can get. Now you got to strategize, and with 280 something entries in the hazy IPA, I'll never enter a beer in GABF in the hazy IPA category. But you try and enter in those categories that have less than 100 beers in them, and see if you're the best of the 100.
Was that the first competition you've entered a hoppy beer from us, or at least the hazy IPA?
No, I think I entered it in NABA, and my tail was between my legs after the results.
Trying to read between lines.
I guess what I'm trying to say is there's a lot of really good breweries here locally that should enter in these international competitions if they can make that beer taste as good by the time it gets to Chile. There's some great breweries. Arizona's got such great breweries. It's humbling to be a part of such a great brewing scene here.
I mean, we
By the
think
way,
so.
how about a little cheers?
Yeah.
oh yeah, congratulations on winning all the medals.
All the medals.
Wasn't even alluding to that. It's just 4 dudes sitting around a table this long without one cheers.
Yeah.
Kind of sacrilegious.
That's weird. Do you think? I mean, I guess from your responses, you probably do. But do you think like the medals actually help breed competition? Like actually help bring everybody's level up?
You mean everybody's like the industry?
In the industry itself. I mean, so there's some people that kind of look on prop medals and they're like, man, I don't really care. They just do it because they want to like brew beer. And there's other people who actually really care about the medals and actually really want to do a good job for competitions and focus on that kind of stuff. And do you think that?
Yeah, how quickly does the word get out around the state that you won this and that kind of everybody comes?
Because of this guy sitting to my right, it gets out pretty quick. He likes to brag for me, which makes it nice. You can't toot your own horn; it doesn't work.
It's hard.
Julian toots it for me. Love the guy for it.
I'm honestly his biggest fan, and it's kind of like a separation of church and state because I have zero to do with the brewing other than maybe saying, hey, can we do this beer or that beer? So I'm like his cheerleader. Be weird if I went around toot my own horn in the restaurant or he went around toot his own horn in the beer, but I'm happy to toot his horn on the beer, and every now and then he toots my horn on the restaurant.
I really enjoy it.
Maybe
when
not
Julian
enough,
toots
buddy.
my horn.
Maybe not enough.
So that's an interesting question. It's when you started this, was it restaurant first with beer, or were you looking at it from purely a beer perspective with the restaurant section?
Clearly by the allocation of space and money, it was pretty equal. But I went into this fairly blind, right? I'd never been in the manufacturing space. I'd owned bars for many, many years, been buying beer for many, many years. Was pretty, self-aware that I knew nothing about brewing, but I don't know. Most businesses I've opened, I never really thought it was a, unbreakable code. I just figured we just get it going and we'll figure it out. I got extremely lucky, and it wasn't just like Doc fell into my lap and crushed my femur and my knees and my ankles.
That would happen.
I worked hard to recruit him to come be a part of this. But the fact that I was able to recruit him definitely has made us much more successful than we would have been without him. And it's been kind of a fun journey. I think Doc, who worked for, a big, whatever it was, Fortune 500 company chain kind of environment for 20 years or 19 years, I think it was. I think coming to Pedal Haus, he's been exposed to things he may not have been exposed to with his old company.
Well, that's because of college kids, right? Are you talking about a different exposure?
We're not talking about what do you call those jackets. No, I think it's been kind of interesting for both of us. Doc's been able to come to a small company, a startup. There's a lot of grinding that goes on. There's a lot of soul searching that goes on. There's a lot of finding your way. And for some people, that's intimidating or scary or stressful. For me, it's kind of like what I thrive on, right? Like I'm not afraid of a challenge. Again, knowing what I know now, if I hadn't had Doc, I don't know where it would be right now. Probably wouldn't have won best brewery in the Los Americas.
Well, even locally, if you search any kind of blog, or I've seen articles from like the Republic and AZ Central, like if you search even just like best bars in Tempe or best bars for college kids, this always comes up in the top 5, or most of the lists are number 1. So it's, you guys have done something right. But in the beginning, what did he do to bring you over, Doc? Like you brewed at BJ's for, like you said, what, almost 20 years from the ground floor?
Yeah, they were really good to me. They really took care of me financially. Great company. I cannot say enough great things about BJ's. They're a great company. They allowed me to grow. They taught me that it's okay to fail, which was hard. Big company, you know, fear of losing your job, but they embrace the whole fail. Occasionally fail, because that's the only way to grow, is do something wrong, figure out how to not do it again. And I really like that, and I feel a lot more confident about it.
Because he's a charming guy. You could probably sell snow to an Eskimo, right?
Julian is.
The cameraman? Or
He is very charming too, don't worry.
Julian is a very charming man. So Ben Vandermeer, mutual friend of ours, introduced us. I had no idea it was about a job. He was opening a brewery, same size as mine, and he just wanted me to give some advice, and I kind of gave him some advice. And then a few more conversations later, and we started talking, and I thought, the growth thing. I've been with the same company for 19 years. I was a chiropractor before that, and I wasn't sure if I would continue to evolve working for a giant company. And I really was motivated to try and make some more mistakes and evolve faster than what a giant boardroom would allow you to change things. It's very difficult to make changes when you have a formula that seems to be working. So that was partly motivating, and then it was, and I think Julian, if he took over the conversation from here, he would probably say it verbatim. Julian had a conversation with Jim Scussel, apparently.
Nope, not quite. Go
Not
ahead,
even
finish
close.
your
My wife comes home
memory of it.
from work at Four Peaks, and she says, I'm in. Jim Scussel, her boss, talked to her and said, I'm in if you want to do it. So apparently something convinced Jim, between a conversation with Julian, and Jim convinced my wife, and she said, let's do this. And so that's when I was like, oh shit, this is happening. My sphincter just puckered up a lot, and I was like, job security.
Okay, that is Doc's perspective of the way it went down, which is pretty close. I mean, really not much different. So the only thing was that I remember was Doc, who's this very generous person.
He's very giving.
Very, very giving to anyone.
Just saying.
No,
You want something right now?
No, I'm saying.
I've got gas.
No,
I'll give you
All
some.
right, guys, hands above the table.
Listen, we haven't talked about the Dutch rudder in like 5 episodes, so let's not do it this one, all right?
Doc is known for his Dutch rudder. Okay.
How's this square table going to work? We're sitting so far from each other.
I don't even know of what you speak. So I, through Ben Vandermeer with Sierra Nevada Pale Ale, go figure, made the introduction, met Doc. I got this brewery I'm trying to pull off, and of course I don't start with this tiny little thing. I go right for a 14,000 square foot.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what's the
15 barrel, 350 seat for my first one.
what is the current square footage of this? Plan.
14,000 square feet. 14,000, about 350 seats. 14,000 square feet. 14,000. About 350 seats. 14,000. 14,000. About 350 seats. 14,000. 14,000. 14,000. 14,000. 14,000. 14,000. 14,000. 14,000. 14,000. 14,000. 14,000. 14,000. 14,000. 14,000. 14,000. 14,000. 14,000. 14,000. 14,000. 14,000. 14,000. 14,000. 14,000. 14,000. 14,000. 14,000. 14,000. 14,000. 14,000. 14,000. 14,000. 14,000. 14,000. 14,000. 14,000. 14,000. 14,000. 14,000. 14,000. 14,000. 14,000. 14,000. 14,000. 14,000. 14,000. 14,000. 14,000. 14,000. 14,000. 14,000. 14,000. 14,000. 14,0
Well, and so
15 barrel.
We talk to people, and they're always like, if you're going to open a brewery, you're going to need twice as much money you're going to need, and twice as much space. And so we talked about, the remodel, and you guys took away from kind of the brewing area. That was really surprising to me that you guys aren't expanding the brewing area.
No, when we remodeled, we expanded the brewery.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. The first time you're talking about?
Yeah.
Or the second or third time?
Yeah, I was going to say, what?
First time?
The most recent one.
The annual remodel.
Yeah, annual remodel.
Doc got into this shit and was like, oh my God, I'm working for a maniac.
He is a genius, though.
He's funny, but he's a goddamn maniac.
That's always the thing is like people always need more space and more. I mean, that's manufacturing in general. You're going to need more space and kind of expand.
It's a different model.
Right.
We didn't choose to go into a warehouse where we could just keep expanding. We're confined by the restaurant side of the business. But
right.
Yeah, so Doc, being the sweet fellow that he is, was just helping me with this thing. I don't think ever did it occur to him that I was recruiting him. Correct me if I'm wrong.
This is true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I had
no
these guys out of Portland that were helping me, and they were great, but they definitely weren't Doc, and they definitely weren't local. And anyway, so the whole time I'm thinking like the only reason he's helping me is he's kind of like throwing his hat in the ring to be the master brewer, the partner. In his mind, he was just being a good sport,
Yeah, he's just helping out,
which is the kind of guy he is, which is awesome. So we get to a point, I can't remember how far we were out from opening, maybe potentially as close as 4 months.
Oh, wow.
And I think I remember talking to him and saying, like, when do you want to talk about the partnership? And, I appreciate you helping me with, like, the brewery setup and this equipment over that equipment and this and that. But, like, we should probably talk turkey at some point here. We're 4 months out from opening.
Yeah.
I'm assuming this whole time he's my guy. And he's like, sure, okay. And then we kind of met, and I kind of went over the equity side of the deal. And he's like, okay. And he left. And then I think like a couple weeks later, we talked. Maybe I called him. And he's like, yeah, no, I think I'm good. Like, I hope you do well. I'll always be here for you. I'll help you with whatever you need. And I was crushed. I was like, oh my God. This guy's awesome. I thought we were hooking up, like we were going to do this. And I was like, and I hope you don't mind me telling the story.
That's fine.
Okay. So I was like, well,
Does it involve the weekend and the nudity? And
That's a big deal of it.
that we should come out with that.
That's how we sealed it. That's how we sealed
I
the
think
deal.
I was blocked out for that part. But So, long story short, I got to meet Melissa, his wife, and she came over, and we all kind of got along. And I was, trying to paint this picture of opportunity and this and that. And I think they're both a little bit skeptical. And the part that he brought up about Jim Scussel from Four Peaks, I never contacted anyone from Four Peaks. I don't think I would have even felt comfortable trying to like have anyone convince them to do it.
Right.
Like it's like, yeah, just keep it clean. If you're in and you like the structure and the opportunity, great.
Right.
And if you don't, no problem. But I wouldn't leverage, Anyway, so I think Melissa was at Four Peaks and maybe Jim walked by or something. And she probably said, hey, Jim, what do you think about this opportunity? And I think, now mind you, long before like local beer was cool, I was always kind of a big fan of Four Peaks, and they didn't need to like give me anything. There was no dog and pony show. I always carried Hop Knot and Kilt Lifter at any bar I owned for a decade before this happened. And I'd become friends with Jim and Randy and Andy. I don't know. Long story short, they just like, hey, listen, if he's ever gonna, jump ship or try something new, this guy's pretty solid. He's 17 years in the restaurant and bar business at this point. We know him personally. We vouch for him personally. We can't speak to your financial arrangement or what the hell he's trying to do down there. But if you're going to make a move, not a bad opportunity. Not a bad time
Some mood light
Yeah,
happening there.
baby.
It's gonna get real quick.
Okay.
We're getting intimate now.
Somebody heard us say
And that
Dutch
was
rudder.
it. That
The light
was
went down.
it. And to Doc's and Melissa's credit, they took a leap of faith. And, startups are a lot different than mature, Fortune 500 brewing companies. And I think there's probably been some times where Doc appreciates some of the freedoms he's been afforded, and there's probably other times where he misses maybe some of the leadership and guidance that he's not getting here. But one thing I will say, and I don't know if you feel the same, but I'm referring to Doc, but we always are trying to evolve here at Pedal Haus. And if you look at our little life cycle of 4 years and how much we've evolved in that 4 years, including the branding and the beer and the team and the physical space. I mean, to me, it's exciting. It's just like, it's always moving. It's always changing. As a young guy, I just was never attracted to a desk job and just making the donuts. And here we are.
Should we wrap this up, actually, Ed, since you actually said that like 4 times already?
But I think I was on 3.
All right.
But yeah, we'll wrap it up.
So events you guys have coming up besides the music festival, right?
Heyday Music
Heyday.
Fest. Yeah. September 28th.
Ed, if people actually want to find us on social media, where should they go?
We are at the Hoppy Craftsmen at Twitter. At Twitter? No, on Twitter.
On Twitter.
On Twitter, on Instagram, Facebook. We are at hoppycraftsman.beer on the internet.
.beer?
Yep,
Yeah.
we're a dot
Is that
beer.
a thing?
Yeah, you can be a dot
100%.
beer.
Jesus Christ, you guys are so ahead of the curve.
You're welcome for that.
Fucking hell.
We stole that. Who did we steal it from? The shop? Their
Sorry.
dot beer websites.
All right, guys. Well,
All right.
thank you guys for being here,
Oh,
Julian,
no.
Doc, man. Appreciate you guys being on the show.
Awesome.
Spinning some fucking stories. It's been awesome.
Yeah, thanks for having us. Thanks for letting us invade your brewery space. And we'll see you next remodel.
Yeah. We'll come back.
Next summer.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming in.